Okay, so I've been hearing like mixed reviews about the Theros set. What do you call this? Like, it's just called set release, right?
Well, it's a new block.
New block. Okay, so
Which
it's the first of the new.
Yeah, includes 3 sets. This is the
Right.
first set of the block.
And I've already noticed like some things already that I don't want to deal with as like a new Magic player. I'm already still trying to pick up terminology, trying to figure out what the rules are regarding certain things within, like wording. And all of a sudden now you like have bestow, devotion, scry, and I'm just like, and the basic ones don't really bother me that much. I mean, devotion's kind of like iffy for me right now because I don't really like, because there's no set number, it's just about like however many like, what is it, like mana symbols there are?
Yeah, colored mana symbols.
Colored mana symbols, and I'm just like, so I'm wondering, like, from like someone who's probably like really bored with all the old cards, like, is this kind of like a really great thing that's happening in terms of like adding new elements of rules and maybe even play styles?
So are you asking, like, as me as an older player, do I like the fact that they're adding new, I guess, abilities, or what would it be called?
Mechanics.
New mechanics, yeah. I do, for sure. I like the new mechanics. I like when they experiment with new mechanics. Sometimes they fail. But yeah, sometimes they're really cool. Devotion, I guess it is a little bit confusing. Devotion, for anyone that doesn't know, devotion, your combined devotion is, for a particular color, is the number of colored mana symbols on all permanents you control. So if I have...
Are there cards that ask you specifically, like, what your devotion is? So, like, 5 mana symbols of mountains, or red, like, that equals to something, like, within the cards, like, powers?
Yeah, the gods.
Okay.
The gods in particular. I have one here. Thassa, god of the sea. She is 2 colorless and 1 blue. She uses devotion. Actually, all the gods use devotion, but she states, as long as your devotion is to blue is less than 5, Thassa isn't a creature. So when she's out, she's just an enchantment.
It's just like one more number you have to keep track of.
Legendary enchantment. So once you hit 5 devotion, she becomes a creature on top of that in terms of permanent types.
Okay.
And so that's an interesting use of devotion.
Is this to like get you to maybe start to favor like less multicolored decks, or to make you like sort of choose among like colors more? Because that's what it seems like the mechanic is trying to do, is to get you to maybe like say, I'm going to favor blue more than green, or green more than red.
Well, a lot of people, I mean, I guess it depends on what format you're playing, but I guess people usually in like standard, especially, they favor, maybe 2-3 color. No one's going to be really playing with a rainbow deck. So, I mean, it kind of works for the format.
So why bring it in? Like, what does it add?
It just adds another mechanic. So it basically, it's a way to scale power. Like you're allowed to do something as long as you have, say, I don't know, 5 devotion or 6 devotion, or how much ever devotion you have. So just a way to, it's like another way to it's like another game counter. Like, so it's pacing. So like as soon as you hit like so much devotion, something might happen. Or if you have like less than so much devotion, like you're allowed to do something.
So you like it because it increases the intensity of gameplay over a period of time.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice because it can be used for like a lot of different things in terms of like pacing the game, or like keeping timing, or giving you power at certain times, or taking away power at certain times. I don't know offhand all the cards that use devotion. I haven't studied all the Theros cards in depth. I know the gods use devotion. I know Nykthos, Shrine to Nyx.
Legendary land.
Legendary land uses devotion. This uses devotion by the fact that it's gonna, you basically
Well,
pay...
go ahead and read what the card says.
Oh, I am. Okay, it's a legendary land, and we'll show it up on the screen. But you can tap it for 1 colorless mana. Not that you can see from there. Or you can pay 2 colorless mana and tap it. You choose a color, and then you add to your mana pool the amount of mana of that color equal to your devotion to that color. Which means if I have 2 colored permanents in play, and I'm tapping 2 mana to use this land and I'm only getting 2 colors back, that's kind of a waste because I'm not getting anything. But if I have 10 colored permanents in play, like say I have like 10 white colored mana symbols, and I pay 2 colorless, I'm getting like a net profit of 8 mana.
This is like, this level of complexity, I guess, it seems like it'd be more enjoyed by people who are looking for that next level of complexity within Magic. I kind of like the simplicity of like the other cards, but that might be just because like I'm not able to grasp like as easily all the rules that apply, and like that's the thing about Magic is like really understanding the rules. Like, I mean, I was asking him like, how do you know that's what that card means? Like, and I was like, did you read about the Theros cards beforehand? And he was like, no, I just can decipher what it means based off of like other rulings about other rules from other Magic cards. And I'm just like,
or just the base rules of like how the mechanics of the game work down, like deep down from like a really low level.
I mean, just like, you know, this whole new thing with legendary enchantment creature. I mean, he was trying to explain it to me earlier about how like now a creature can be an enchantment and or not, or taken out of being an enchantment, then becoming back to being a creature, and I was just like, oh.
Like, yeah, we're having a discussion about like when Thassa, God of the Sea, when she actually counts as a creature versus not a creature. Like if she's in your hand, she's always a creature. If she's on,
but how do you know
if she's a permanent in play, she's only a creature if the caveat is like fulfilled.
But how do you know she's a creature in your hand?
Because she says creature on her.
Why is she not an enchantment in your hand?
Well, she is. She counts as a legendary enchantment creature.
So if she's in your hand, she's also an enchantment? So if anything like says like you can take an enchantment out of someone's hand, does that count? Yep.
Okay. And she counts as an enchantment in exile. She counts as all 3 of those things in exile and in the graveyard. But when she's in play, she does not count as a creature unless your devotion is 5 or greater. What?
You definitely like Theros then.
I do. I think it's interesting. Like, and I guess I should state that I don't play Standard typically, and I don't play Modern. I do play Legacy, but I don't play it a lot. What I play the most is EDH, aka Commander. And so I view cards, I guess, a bit differently than a lot of people. And my value system for like how a card works is a bit different and skewed. I mean, I can understand and appreciate cards, you know, that people need for Standard or Modern. In Legacy especially. But yeah, I kind of look at cards like, is this going to be useful in one of my commander decks? Can I make a commander deck out of this card? And so, yeah.
But the thing is that when I was playing with the booster, the dual packs, Monsters versus Heroes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually liked that. And I didn't really find any of those cards to be overcomplicated.
Well, a lot of those cards weren't from Theros.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of those were reprinted old
M13?
cards. No, there were a bunch of reprinted old cards from sets all across Magic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I actually enjoyed that. But then when I went and looked at, like, you know, Theros, I mean, like, as we were doing the unpacking, I don't know, I don't want to play with them yet.
We can play with some. Not all of them have these abilities.
Except for Curse of the Slime, which is actually drawing me to blue. It's really, I like cards.
She likes Curse of the Swine.
I mean, one of my favorite things about Magic is to like look at the cards and see their abilities and try to understand their abilities. More than even gameplay right now, even it's just like trying to figure out what the cards do and trying to figure out the rules myself, and then if I can't, then ask. And then so I find those really fascinating, and I love to find cards that are really powerful because I'm just like, you know, it's just like holding so much power in your hands. You know, Thoughtseize, you know, you're just like. Obviously, from a gameplay standpoint, completely different. But I mean, I wouldn't mind playing with a stacked deck, literally. I mean, because like, I like the opponent. You know,
you mean stacked in terms of like just using anything you want?
Well, not just using anything they want, but things that like, you know, basically just pound someone to the ground. You know, and basically, you know, I win cards and stuff like that.
Playing with wild power cards. Well, that's what people do in Legacy.
Well, I know, but like. It's not exactly the most enjoyable thing, and I was watching some guy's video on like what the best like, you know, commander cards were, and like, you know, you look at the list initially and you're just like, what, you know, like, and then you realize that he's basing this off of really good gameplay interactions.
Yes, friendly,
not
play,
like, you know, you're
not punishing, like I want to like kill my opponent.
Yeah, like no one's ever. You're gonna come to the table and like everyone goes. You're like, no thanks, don't want to play with you or your commander, you know.
Yeah, fuck your Johor deck.
Which I get, and I had not a long-term player enough to actually appreciate, the slow burn as much, because 3-hour games already are exhausting to me, which EDH games tend to be.
So awesome. Epic.
You're just like, it's 3 a.m, oh my god,
I need to sleep.
and then someone throws out a what's it called, the World Ender, or
what, Jockopolis?
No, the one that destroys all the lands.
Oh, Armageddon.
Oh, is that the one?
Yeah, Armageddon destroys all lands.
One of those type cards.
Jockopolis destroys all
basically
lands.
Resets the game, and then you're just like,
you're like, we got to start all over again.
No.
We're adding like one card can add like an hour and a half to a game.
So yeah, I guess in that respect, EDH is it can be very exhausting in that way. But the appreciation of Magic actually does come from the gameplay and the interaction as well. And so like I can imagine like Theros being a little bit more like that. Although they do tend to have some ponage cards as well. Some of the best memories I have with playing Magic is I never, you don't remember who wins or loses. You remember like who's that fucker who, topped that one card, and
you tend to remember like great plays.
Yeah, great plays as opposed to like who
either
won
by
or
yourself
lost.
or by
and that's the appeal of it to me, is like when I'm trying to like get my friends to play it, it's like it's not really about who wins or loses. It's really about like mind fucking your other friends, like as much as you can, and like tormenting them,
That's how I see it. That's kind of my style of playing, is making decks which punish everyone, even myself. And yeah.
So, what are your favorite cards from Theros?
Well, I guess before that, I'm just gonna say, in terms of Theros, I like the flavor of the set. I want to throw that out there first.
Okay, well, what do you mean by that?
The flavor, the taste, like.
Chocolate.
No, basically like the theme of this block is like gods.
Greek mythology.
Yeah, it's like gods, heroes, and monsters. So it's kind of like Greek mythology,
but made up.
But made up. Like you have the Cerberus, like you have different gods, like the god of the sea has a trident, and so kind of like
that
along
looks
the lines
like an hors d'oeuvre trident, not a full trident with the 3 forks, but only 2 forks.
For desserts. I think it's a bident, right?
Oh, I've never seen anyone powerfully use a bident, so it's like what you use for prawns.
So yeah, it's sort of like that's kind of like representing the god of Poseidon, except she has 2-pronged bident, which is actual, I guess, an item in the game. And so, yeah, like there's different, like there's a temple of abandon, like there's a bunch of people, there's like satyrs and stuff, and everyone's drinking and probably having sex behind like this bush over here. And so yeah, I think that I think the whole flavor and like the background of the set is kind of interesting. In terms of my favorite cards, again going with like EDH and Commander in mind, I guess my favorite would probably be the Prophet of Kruphix. And if you've seen like the Theros Pre-release, I was talking about her quite a bit, where she won me more than half of my games. And she basically allows you to untap all of your creatures' lands that you control during each other player's untap step. And you can also cast creatures as though they had flash, which means you can cast them as instants anytime you want. During your turn, your opponent's turn, you can like cast a creature in response to something. And she's 3 colorless, 1 green, 1 blue. She's a 2/3, a little bit on the weak side. But yeah, in Commander, this is amazing, especially in a multiplayer game, because instead of getting your 1 untap step during your turn and then having to wait multiple turns and like God knows what could happen by the time it's your turn again, you have access to all of your mana generated by lands every turn, which is absolutely amazing. I mean, just think of this in terms of like your sliver deck. Say you have like your Sliver Overlord out. Sliver Overlord, pay 2 colorless, you can search your deck for a sliver, put it into your hand. And it doesn't tap, so you can use it multiple times. And so like say you use like your land for some stuff during your turn, like you might have like 2 or 3 mana left, and you wanna probably save that 2 or 3 mana to maybe look for a sliver at the end of like someone's turn, like before it's your turn. You might want to use it to counter a spell, you might want to use it to, I don't know, just wait and see what happens. With this, you can use that land for like I'm going to look for a sliver, and then like it's the next player's turn, you get all your mana back. It's like, oh, I'm going to look for another sliver. Maybe 2 more slivers.
How do you get all your mana back? Oh, because you can untap
all your lands.
That's insane.
During every other player's turn.
That's overpowered. Okay, no, wait. So if, say, like, someone does...
I mean, she's easy to kill, though. She's, I mean, a 3. She could be exiled, someone could lightning bolt her, any number of things could happen to her. You'd have to protect her.
So, like, say if like someone had something out, like a sorcery they're about to cast that was going to maybe, like, put -4 on all my creatures or something like that and have a bunch of slivers out. Can I actually, like, after they do that, can I go, I'm going to use Prophet of Kruphix, search my card for something that does, like, find a sliver that does protection against all white, say you're playing against a white deck, you know, or can you do that?
It gives you this, it makes that easier because you have access to most all of your mana every turn during other people's turns.
But can you do this in response to a spell or a sorcery being cast? Or?
No, you untap all creatures' lands in your lands during each other player's untap step.
Oh, okay.
So you can't. It's just you can't just untap whenever you want.
Okay.
It's just at the beginning of each player's turn. You have access to everything, and you can also cast creatures.
Mm-hmm. Like, do you think it's like just as powerful within a standard style as opposed to EDH?
I don't know. I mean,
obviously you won a lot of your games. Well, you claimed you won a lot of your games because of that card.
Well, I did, but like that was like a constructed format, and then like you're working with like you're working with what you get. Like you don't have all the resources to put together a deck with like a central theme. Like
whereas the tournament would actually put that in mind that you might be having to destroy her.
Maybe, but like also
counter that.
More specifically, is that like when you're making a standard deck, like you're gonna like you want 4 of everything that's good, that you need to like so you make sure you pull it. Like you're gonna have like a central focus, like if you're making a good deck, it's gonna be a powerful like just very focused deck on what it wants to do, whether it be like control or aggro, and you're gonna like get all the best cards you can for it. In constructed, like you're limited. Like it's like a crapshoot. You're just going to get random stuff.
So having random powerful things like that become very
powerful. Having random powerful things like the Prophet it really helped a lot, and also having Elspeth and some other stuff in there. That is my favorite, I would say, for EDH. 2 other favorites, we were talking about the land before, Nyxos, however you pronounce it. Also very good because, as you said, Commander games tend to run really long. You get like a ton of permanents out. This has the potential to generate a ton of mana, which is really nice. I've actually not used it yet in a Commander game, but it is in one of my decks, or will go back into one of my decks, and I'd really like to experiment and see how it works out. And what else? I don't have the card, but another one that I thought would be a lot of fun, and you'd actually pick this one out as well, is Madomai. Is that how you pronounce it? The Ageless?
Yeah, Madomai.
Madomai the Ageless. She's a legendary, and every time she does damage to a player, you take an extra turn after that one, and then during that extra turn she cannot attack, so you cannot be getting infinite turns, fortunately or unfortunately. But yeah, I know some people at Dragon's Lair. I started using hers, I think it's her, as a commander, but I haven't played against anyone, and I'm not sure how well it worked out, but it seems like it'd be pretty useful. I mean, taking an extra turn is huge, but again, you'd have to land.
I haven't actually seen that in play yet.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in play either. Seems like it could be cool if you'd have a way to bypass creatures, put a spectral cloak or something on her.
I feel like I wish at this point I was like transform myself into one of those other Magic nerds and be like, yeah, or I could use this card or this card or this card, and then we'd like have a really good conversation. And I'm like, yeah, she might be good. Cool. See her later.
Well, I mean, we haven't seen it in use, so
yeah.
I mean,
even if I had it, yeah.
And then your favorite's Curse of the Swine, which just went
Swine.
flying.
Oh no.
Do you want
the problem is
to explain what it does?
The problem with Curse of the Swine, though, for me, is that it's blue. I have a preference towards red and black for some reason. Although I love the way that blue plays, because blue again is like a really good mindfucking deck. It's really about manipulating the game so that it's not linear. And cock blocking and a lot of really cool stuff. And but it's blue, so I'm just like, but when I first saw it, it's like
you just want to exile everyone's shit.
Yeah, I do.
As much as possible.
I do. Like the first time he put something out, and I first encountered this thing called Indestructible.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, that's it. So I started building a deck around Indestructible. Like, I was like, my next EDH deck is going to take care of this because it is going to have fucking exiles out the ass. It's like, that's just how I'm going to, like, start building decks, is, like, to counter other people's decks. But, okay, so this is a sorcery, X mana plus 2 blue to put out. Exile X target creature, so however many, mana. For each creature exiled this way, its controller puts 2/2 green boar creature tokens onto the battlefield. I don't care about the tokens, although, like, if you're a green player, you probably care about tokens.
Well, that's just a way to balance it. It's a way to balance it. Because otherwise, just exiling X creatures is insane. So you need to give the opponent something.
Yeah. So, but it's just the exile X creatures, I'm like, yes, I'll take that one, so you can take your fucking enchant and you can stuff it, because, like, it's not going to help you.
Exile.
So, but then I'm like, great, now my suddenly awesome red and black EDH deck cannot use this because it's blue. Why couldn't they make this black?
I don't know.
That was the other thing about Theros cards I didn't really...
It seems more like it'd be a white.
Yeah, exile is...
Yeah, I'm surprised it was blue. It's like... Or even make it like multicolor, blue-white, but that seems very... Seems very out of character for blue. It's like, reminds me of the...
Well, that's the thing about Theros that I didn't like, is that I was starting to see a lot of cards that were uncharacteristic of their color. You know, like, there was like, there was a green card. I wish I pulled it out. And I was just like, how is this a green card? This is not about tree hugging and shit like this. Like, this is about destruction and decay and, like...
Well, sometimes they do. I mean, they do depart from, like,
well, obviously they do
a little bit, and sometimes it's more for story, for flair, just and I guess sometimes they wanna spice things up, I guess for standard mainly, I would imagine.
Yeah. Still, it's kind of a shame that's not a black card.
Yeah. And what else did I like?
You love Thoughtseize.
No, I don't like. I mean, Thoughtseize is fine. It's back in the day. I had a land destruction discard deck, a long time ago, where, like, it was just, like, punishing and horrible. But playing, like, that kind of game does not make the game enjoyable. Like, just playing that kind of meta game where, like,
I don't understand why you wouldn't enjoy this card. Okay, target player reveals his or her hand. You choose a non-land card from it, and that player discards that card, and you lose 2 life. So basically a way of getting rid of a card that someone has, like, has in their hand, probably wants to use. You know they're going to use it. As someone who plays a blue deck all the time, or, is more of a blue player, why wouldn't you like this card? Like this?
Well, it's not that I don't like it. I think it's fine.
It's a great disruptor card.
I would use, it is. I would use it for EDH, but I know there were a lot of grumbling about the fact that it was reprinted for standard, especially because people tend to hate when a card like this comes out, and, like, everyone just puts it in their deck. They try to find ways to shove it in their deck because it's that powerful, or it's that disruptive. And it kind of, I guess it kind of cheapens like the state of play for, like, I guess that block or that while it's around, unless there's a good way to counter it. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't play standard, so I don't care that much. But I didn't really think it needed reprinting. So
I read an article that Brian Kibler wrote, who is this Pro Tour Magic player who plays, I guess, for reals. And he writes articles on cards and stuff as well. And I was reading his Theros article, and he had a whole article on Thoughtseize. And it was kind of interesting because he was talking about how, I guess probably in these standard type tournaments, people build kind of a strategy around their gameplay. And this is kind of like the nullifier of a lot of the strategies. As opposed to being a strategy itself.
It's not a strategy. It just basically crushes people's strategy. And so that's why, that's like I said before, like, people just start shoving it in their deck to disrupt everyone's strategy. And this becomes, like, the de facto card that everyone, like, needs to play or put into their deck or figure out a way to, like, counter, because it's gonna mess them up. Because standards, I mean, you're so limited on like the number of cards, like, you're able to play. There's only so many decks that are theoretically going to work well. Like, you don't have the masses of cards to pull from, like, say, in Legacy. And so, yeah, it can be disruptive, I guess, to the format for a while it's in circulation, or I guess in standard while it's legal. So
what you're trying to say is you want to give away your foil Thoughtseize?
No, I'm not giving away my foil Thoughtseize. You can put it in your EDH deck.
My EDH deck.
Which you already have one in there, but you don't have the foil one in there.
I don't have the foil version.
Yeah.
I'm not keen on foil. That's all you.
Maybe I'll sell it.
Sell it for my Erebus.
For your what?
Erebus.
Erebus?
Erebus, isn't that his name? The
Who?
black card I want.
What does he do?
He's the black card with the whip.
Oh, the whip god.
Whip god, Theros.
This is
God.
way more than the whip god, but
Well, that should be easy.
yeah. Here, foil Thoughtseize whip god. Done. I'll give it to you.
So everyone's going like YouTube, like, okay, I'll trade you.
I'll take your foil Thoughtseize.
Take your full Thoughtseize for that.
For whip god.
Whip god. All right, we did have some feedback on our instructional video on Magic the Gathering. Flipmax had a question. He was asking, can a creature block with summoning sickness?
Yes.
So once it's out, like you first play the creature, he's summoning sickness, and someone throws an instant at it. Oh wait, no, an instant would be an instant at it. You could block with it, or instant you could block with it.
You can't block instants.
Oh,
A creature attacks.
is there any case in which a person would attack on your turn? I guess if they had flash.
They can't attack though. They can only put the creature out.
Oh, okay.
It's only putting in.
So it's really only on their turn that they would be. So it's not even your turn anymore. So they don't even have summoning sickness.
It's summoning sickness lasts until your next turn.
Your next turn, okay.
So it still has summoning sickness on your opponent's turn. The turn after it comes out. But yeah, your creatures can block.
Okay.
For sure. The only thing they cannot do, and I might have been confusing when I talked about this at one other point, they cannot attack, and they cannot use activated abilities which require tapping.
Yeah,
That's
because
the key.
Grimrock also asked, summoning sickness doesn't prevent use of abilities that don't include the tap symbol.
Correct. Like
Correct.
Sliver, that's why I said like Sliver Overlord. You can play Sliver Overlord, and you can start paying 2 colorless to grab creatures. I think it's 2 colorless. Or is it 3?
I don't remember. I haven't touched that one
2 or 3.
in a while. Mhm.
But yeah, you use oh yeah, Sliver Queen might be 2 to generate. So I think it is 3 colorless mana. But yeah, you can use her immediately, or him immediately, to start searching your library for slivers. And you can do, because it does not tap, you can use that ability as much as you want, as long as you have mana for it. So,
The more you know.
the more you know.
So if you have any other questions about Magic the Gathering, or anything else actually, you can email us at metatalkspodcast@gmail.com, or you can tweet Azyxa at Azyxa, and you can follow me or tweet me at Alachia. And we appreciate feedback, and would love to answer any questions you have. And other than that, we are magicked out.
You know what we should do?
What?
One day? We should record a game.
Friday Night Magic.
Friday Night Magic.
Friday Night Magic.
Or no, just us playing.
I know.
Oh, here?
Or Friday
EDH.
Night Magic.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it doesn't need to be EDH.
EDH. It'll be like a 3-hour...
I'm not editing a 3-hour.
It'll be a 3-hour epic struggle. Azyxa versus Alachia. There will be tears, and heartache, and joy.
As I punch you in the mouth.
And drinking.
I know, like, this is me, like, it was like on or playing, EDH, like, late at night, I'm just like, go, every day I'm shuffling, go, every day I'm shuffling, because you're tweaking out on caffeine, and you're like, just like, or laying down on the ground going, like, have you gone yet? And then, like, the card comes down, you're like, what does it do? Just like,
Am I dead yet?
am I dead yet? Yeah, those EDH games get out of hand.
Okay, maybe we'll play something
Standard or
just casual.
Or just casual.
Just casual
Casual's
game.
better. Yeah.
60 card decks.
Yeah, maybe we'll play the Heroes versus Monsters.
Yeah, that'd be a good one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not a bad idea.
Or
Okay.
I wish I could get someone else to play and then I could record.
Flipmax.
I don't think he's gonna volunteer to do that.
Your brother.
I would play.
If we can get your brother to
I could
play,
do, oh, that's true. Yeah.
he'll play.
Yeah.
And then you can record. And
Yeah, because I want to be able to manage the controls of the camera. That's
then maybe we can play some of his crazy old tournament decks or whatever
yeah.
against each other.
I like his burn deck.
Burn
It's
deck
one of my
versus
favorites.
the counter deck.
Yeah. Awesome.
Epic struggle.
Yeah, I'm nerding out magic. Friday Night Magic with my Coke Zero and his. What is that? What are you drinking?
elderflower liqueur from Germany.
Okay. Yeah, we haven't even gone into your alcohol nerdiness.
Sweet
nor
candy.
your chocolate nerdiness. And like, really, we should have just called this the nerd, the noob, and the dog. Because, like, seriously, like, there's nothing you don't nerd out on if you like it.
There might be.
It's like that cartoon I saw. The guy who does the cardboard game, something. I don't know. He does the stick figures with Magic Gathering stuff, and he does this Venn diagram, and it's like the Venn diagram shows it's like one circle, and it says people who play Magic, people who are obsessed with Magic.
It's just like
one. It was like
just a circle.
That's kind of like, yeah, I get that. Yeah.
What is the name of that comic?
I forget. Like, it's like cardboard something.
Cardboard Crack?
Cardboard. Yeah, it should be Cardboard Crack. Yeah. I'll
Something
link it
like
right
that.
here.
Yeah.
So, all right. We're gonna probably split this up into 2 parts. So you're probably watching part 2 right now. So thank you for staying tuned for all of our magic nerdery, letting him nerd out about Magic the Gathering.
Sorry if I bored you to death.
Well, magic nerds are all into this, right? So it's cool.
Maybe.
Like everyone else who we know is gonna be like,
Drool.
sorry, I love you guys, but
Later.
all right. Until next time.
Bye.